Thank you for watching. Alright, this website is equippinggodlywomen.com, spelled correctly. And this is 10 Common Catholic Myths That Critics Believe. Alright. Let's see, 10... It looks like there was a book by that name, 10 Common Catholic Church Myths That Critics Believe, that this person is also encouraging you to read. Let's see, okay, there's a person who was talking about this book and it didn't make them a convert right away, but it poked holes in the misbeliefs they had as a Protestant. Alright, now to the blog post. This is a post about official Catholic belief, not what Catholics do in the privacy of their own homes. I appreciate that comment, because one of the things that antagonists of my church do is, well, there was a Mormon that said this or that, instead of quoting the official teachings of the church. And I don't want to do that to Catholicism. Let's see. So part of this quest of mine is, that's what I'm debating about when I'm out running errands today, seeing if there's a Catholic church I could go to. And just make sure by hearing it from a bishop or priest or nun, instead of only Catholic laity who have the eagerness to make a YouTube video or a BitChute video. Okay. And this post, point 2, this post is an introduction to Catholic myths and misconceptions. Okay, they're letting you know this, okay, 2 of these things are not actually points about Catholicism. They are just letting you know. You can probably find books that are very thick, that give you a lot more information than this little blog post. Alright, myth number 1, Catholics aren't Christians. I did not have that misconception or myth in my head. But in case any of you did, now you know, Catholics are Christians, actually. The myth is that they are not. They actually consider themselves to be the original Christians, the church that Jesus Christ founded uninterrupted. 2, Catholic Church abandoned the Bible for man-made traditions. While the Catholic Church does have many traditions that aren't explicitly found in the Bible, so does every church. Traditions themselves aren't bad, it's only when we prioritize them over God Himself, or when they take us further away from God instead of drawing us near. Okay, that's a fair point to be made. Some of the Protestants who are really nuts about, who are really eager to accuse the Catholic Church of using man-made traditions and being anti-biblical. Some of those Protestants are themselves very anti-biblical, and they have some traditions that have nothing to do with the Bible. Some of those traditions are the same as some Catholic, though, like the Nicene Creed and the Apostles' Creed, which are man-made traditions. But they're claiming that the Catholic Church still has oral sayings made by the apostles that have been passed down through the generations. And that's their explanation why some traditions they have are not found in the Bible. They don't go through an exhaustive list here. Alright. wish she would have gone through a more exhaustive list. Which traditions is she thinking about that help us get closer to God that are not in the Bible? Is it the Rosary and the Stations of the Cross? I really don't see how the Rosary gets anyone closer to God. But hey, it's your freedom of religion to do whatever you want. So it's not I'm not calling for any punishments, and I'm going to treat you the same when I deal with you out there in the world and I meet you. Okay, so Catholics worship Mary / saints / statues. It's easy to see how some Catholic myths got started, but again, it really is just another way of many misconceptions. Okay, and so the point she makes is they venerate Mary, which is another way of saying regard with great respect. Kind of like how you would show respect to a king or a queen, but you're not worshiping the king or the queen. Let's see. Okay, here. But yes, to Protestants, the practices definitely look like worship. But since worship is an attitude of the heart, I don't think you can accidentally worship someone and not know it. If Catholics' hearts are in the right place and they only want to show honor, then it's not worship. No. It's worship if it's worship. So she doesn't in her heart feel like she's worshiping Mary or the statues or the saints. It's the same with the statues as well. Catholics don't worship statues. Instead, they are used as decorations to help Catholics remember people who have gone before. Similar to how you might have pictures of your friends and family on your wall or a baseball card collection as a kid. You look at them, but you don't worship them. They're just teaching instruments. Okay. Now, here are my thoughts on this. Am I convinced that Catholics don't worship Mary? Not exactly. But every Catholic should appreciate me trying to find out and read Catholics explaining things instead of finding an anti-Catholic website to come to my opinions or understandings about things. So, she said about the attitude in your heart. I think if you're worshiping, it's not just the attitude in your heart, but even if it is, if it looks like you're worshiping, why would you do it? If it looks like you're doing something bad, why would you do it? That doesn't make sense to me. In fact, there's a Bible verse about that where Paul tells us to avoid the appearance of evil. Maybe the Catholic Church should change their ways to avoid the appearance of evil. I can't think of anything my church does that makes it look like we're worshiping or something like that, or some other evil. And if we did, I would maybe try to make a recommendation for us to change something we did that looked like we were doing something evil to the outside world, and idol worship would be an evil thing. As to using decorations, things as decorations, I don't talk to the decorations in my house and believe they are hearing me. There are people who do worship their ancestors, and they bow down in front of a picture of their ancestor. I've seen it because I've spent a lot of time around Vietnamese people, and that is one somewhat common Vietnamese religion. The Vietnamese word for it is ta om ba. Ta om ba. Literally the word worship, and grandma and grandpa. Okay, 4. Myth. Catholics believe people are saved by works. The Catholic Church does not teach that people are saved by their works. In fact, the Catechism of the Catholic Church actually specifically forbids this notion. Rather, the Catholic Church basically teaches if you call yourself a Christian but you don't act like it, then maybe you're not really a Christian after all. Or, quote, yeah, that was a quote I read there, part of what I said read. Or, quote, God saves you through faith, but it's a living faith that naturally produces good works. Okay. The Catholic belief is actually 100% biblical. This was a painful one for me to read. Why are they running away from a beautiful truth? She should have just denounced the idiotic, unbiblical, false dichotomy that some people make. The false dichotomy that some people make is you're saved by faith or works, or grace or works. But no, the Bible, when you look at it as a whole, makes it clear God cares what you do, and that's going to be one of the things he uses to decide how to judge us. Well, he's going to use it to judge us and decide where to send us. So the Catholic Church, as far as I understand, has a correct understanding about the faith versus works debate. So why give in to those evangelical Christians who really wrest that scripture, wrest that issue? 5. The Catholic Church added books to the Bible. I did not think the Catholic Church added books to the Bible. Now, there are more books in Catholic Bibles. We Protestants call, well, I'm not a Protestant, Protestants and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints call those books the Apocrypha. But one reason that it's maybe even a little bit stupid for people to make that accusation against the Catholic Church is there was not until 300 and something AD a Bible. There were different writings that people had that they used that in 300 and something were formed together to make the Bible. So, and the Catholic Church was the one that did that. And the Catholic Church, well, I don't believe the popes have any authority from God. I believe in how much of the Bible has been preserved by God. We see his power and influence of the Catholic Church and the Bibles being put together. There were people, there was debate about which books to put in the Bible. Many years later, after the Bible was put together, Martin Luther denounced the book of James and denounced the book of Revelation. But James is a great and important book that teaches some very beautiful truths. And I have to wonder if there were some people at the time of the forming of the Bible that wanted James to not be in it. Okay. So now you know the Catholic Church did not add books to the Bible. They have books that are not in Protestant Bibles that they just think those books belong there. I wouldn't call that adding books to the Bible. Myth 6, Catholic priests can't be married. Okay. Some priests are married and have children and grandchildren. This happens when a man is already married and a priest in a different denomination, then converts to Catholicism later. And of those who become priests the usual way and aren't allowed to get married, not all of them want to be. And of those who become priests the usual way and aren't allowed to get married, not all of them even want to be. How does that disprove the myth? Okay, she just confirmed the myth in this point here. So priests are not allowed to get married. But there's an exception she's pointing out. Okay, there's an exception to the rule, but there is a rule that is not a misconception. She just confirmed the rule. Myth 7, Catholics re-crucify Jesus at Mass. I haven't heard the Catholic myth in real life, but apparently it's popular. Catholics do not re-crucify Jesus at Mass. I did not think that Catholics re-crucified Jesus at Mass. If you had been under that misconception, now you know. They don't. 8. Catholics believe only Catholics can go to heaven. Okay, while Catholics do believe their religion is the one true religion and the ordinary means of bringing people to salvation, they recognize God can use any means he wants to, and to bring people to himself, including those other than the Catholic Church. Especially if the person has never had the opportunity to, or knowledge to join the church. Alrighty. Okay, so they're open to more people being in heaven than just people who are Catholics in this life. Now you know. I wouldn't be offended if they said that, you had to be a Catholic to get into heaven. They're claiming to be the only true church. I'm a little bit confused. What does it mean to be the only true church if it's not a requirement? They do say here it's people that don't know. Okay. I appreciate their teaching on the mercy of God there. That's a common ground, I guess, with my religion. In my religion, we definitely believe it's official doctrine and dogma that God will judge people based on what they knew. And so people who never had a chance, you are not able to say that. If you're watching these videos where I talk about religion, including some about my church, you can go to my church's website. You can watch other videos by members of my church. You're less likely to be able to say, I didn't know, at your judgment day than people who did not have this opportunity that you have now. Alright, myth number 9. Catholic priests are child molesters. Okay, that's the myth. She goes on to explain that the Catholic priest who did the child molesting, she's not denying that there were Catholic priests who were child molesters. She's just saying it's a small percentage of them, and the ones who did do that were doing it in contradiction of Catholic teaching and not because in the catechism somewhere it says priests use boys for sex, or whatever wording in there would condone the molestation. So now you know. I did not think Catholic priests who were child molesters were obeying Catholic doctrine or or that the teachings of the Catholic Church were in agreement with their acts there. Myth number 10. The Catholic Church is anti-women. Okay, she points out that until 1930, every church was teaching that birth control is morally wrong. Yeah, but then other denominations have changed their mind, and the Catholic Church is hanging on to that belief. She points out. Okay, she points out that even though Catholic women are priests, there are a large number of Catholic women who do hold positions in the Catholic Church. Non-priest leadership roles is the wording she uses. Okay, well, I did not think the Catholic Church was anti-women. Well, third wave feminism is actually, let's see, don't want to make a detailed video about that right now, but there's some reasons for us to think of third wave feminism as not actually for women. Like, there's silence about certain times and places where women are actually oppressed. And those third wave feminists are the ones accusing the Catholic Church of being anti-women in some cases. Alright, thank you for watching. Now you and I have less misconceptions about the Catholic Church floating around in our heads. Have a good day.